Hello and welcome back to this series where I'm building my own operating system in Arch Linux. And on the previous episode, we left off with where I just installed the awesome window manager and did a little bit of initial configuration. And to be honest with you, after that, I have spent many hours trying to figure it out. And I was basically trying to go for building it all up from the ground up for myself. However, that proved to be a lot more challenging than I had anticipated, like so many things in life. And in the end, I decided I needed to go for more of an approach where I would take a already configured theme and start building up from there. So I've spent many hours tinkering around with it, and I couldn't get it to work as I wanted it, but I have found a way of reaching the goal, what I'm going for. So let me log into my virtual machine here and I'll show you what I have in mind. So we configure that it automatically starts when I log in, and that all seems to be working fine still. Also, in the meantime, I have done some work regarding the optimization of VirtualBox. So what I did was I upgraded my host operating system and the VirtualBox system. And I also had to add my user to the VirtualBox group on the host system. And that seems to have had some positive effects in terms of alacrity and Firefox crashing all the time. So let's hope that is still the case. Now, this is the setup that we left off with last time. And it looks nice. This is a nice wallpaper, and it is a very basic minimal setup, but it's not what I would like to use as an end product. So before I do anything else, I am going to increase the font size of the Alacrity terminal. So let me just check. No, I don't have any Alacrity configuration file yet. So I'm just going to start Firefox, and that should tile up to the left. Yes, that worked correctly. And I'm going to search for Alacrity, because what I need to figure out is where the default config file is located. And actually, let's just go to the Arch wiki, because they tend to be a lot more clear and in the steps that you need to do. Here is the example configuration. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put this in config/alacrity, copy alacrity.yaml2.config alacrity.yaml, because here you can see that it uses a dot file, but if you put it in .config alacrity, you don't have to use the dot. So now that should be there, and let's open that up. Alacrity.yaml. So here is the configuration file for Alacrity, and I've been using Alacrity for quite a long time, and I really like it. It's really fast and it's nice and customizable. But what I like about this is that you can customize it with a YAML file. And for my work, I do a lot of work with Ansible, amongst other things, and the playbooks are written in YAML format. So I'm getting to know YAML quite well. And I like that you can do that in your own personal customization as well. So now I'm going to search for font, and I want to have increased font size. Here it is, the point size. So when you configure the Alacrity YAML, you have to be very careful that first of all, you uncomment this part. And as you might know, YAML is really sensitive to the indentation. So when you do it, you have to make sure that you always uncomment the correct category, because if I would just uncomment the font size, it wouldn't have worked. You also have to uncomment this font category. So I go back to down to the point size, and I'm going to set this to, let's try 20 to try it out. And I'm going to quit this, exit the terminal, and let's open up a new one by pressing Super Enter. And it's become a little bit bigger, but for you guys, I want to make it a little bit bigger still, so that I don't have to zoom in all the time. So again, we go to font, or maybe size here, and let's try 30. Okay, now it's quite a lot bigger. Okay, well, let's put it to 25 for now and see how that works. Okay, I think that's a pretty good pretty good size to start with, so I don't have to zoom in all the time. Now, in terms of customization, the thing that I was going for, the color scheme, first of all, is inspired by something called Groovebox. And Groovebox material, to be specific. And just to show an example of that, let's see, how can I switch these windows? Super H, no, that Super K, Super Shift K, yeah, okay, Super Shift K. Now I switch the sides of them, and if I hold Super now and press L, or H, I can make them bigger or smaller, which is what I wanted now. So now I have the Groovebox material GitHub repo, and here it has a few examples of what it looks like. So I really like this scheme, and I have chosen this as a theme for the desktop that I'm going for. These are the kind of the colors that I really like. They're nice on the eyes, and my favorite colors are black and red. So yeah, this is really, really good. So this is the thing that I'm going for. And so I have quite an idea of the color scheme. And in my search for I started out with wanting to take the theme that is here in this guy's dot files. It was called the Forest theme of Awesome Window Manager, and I tried for a long time to make my own theme out of it, but it didn't work out. So eventually I ended up with Awesome Window Manager Copycat, I think it's called. Yeah, this is it. So this is a readily configured theme with a few widgets for the Awesome Window Manager. And it has some very nice features, modularity and auto-hide widgets and things like that. And when I first saw this, I thought, well, this is not what I want, because I want to build it from the ground up. And the whole idea of making my own operating system is wanting to understand how everything works and which parts are in it. That's why I want to go to Arch Linux, because I want to build it from the ground up. And initially I was a little bit skeptical about using something like this, because then you are bringing in a lot of features that someone else has written. However, I have been trying this one out in a different VM that I cloned, and I found that I could actually understand it. I could read the code. It is written in Lua, which is also a really good, really nice thing about it, because I've heard good things about Lua and that people are really liking it. And I think it's a good opportunity for me to learn Lua. And as I was going through it, I could understand which widgets were coming from where. and I could actually go into the code and realize or get an understanding of what my environment is built out of. So as you can see here in this example, there are a few examples here, and I'll just make this full screen by pressing Super F. And for example, this is a really nice looking environment where you have this top bar with some temperatures and your CPU usage and things like that. And it's really nicely themed with the font and things like that. And there are a few other examples like this one. This one has a few more colors going on up here. That is not completely my style, I suppose. So yeah, I think this was a really nice looking theme, and I think it's a very good starting point for me. And the one that I eventually ended up with that I would like to try out is, oh, I seem to have somehow messed up my Firefox, so let's just try that again. And I'm still learning this system as I go along. So awesome WM copycat. The one that I chose for that I like best is this one. This, as you probably can see why, because it has these colors going on, and up here it's nice and minimal, and I like that it shows just things in text. I really like icons and things like that, but for this theme, I really decided that I would like to have it in numbers and digits up there. So the one that I'm going to use is called Steamburn. And in order to install this, we have to clone the Git repository. And it actually has a few install instructions here, I believe. Yeah, installation. So it's really easy to do it. They basically have a one-liner command that you can just use. And it has the instructions for usage down here. So we are going to follow that in this setup. Okay. And I'm going to go into my terminal here, and I'm going to run this command because I'm pretty sure we already have Git here. Yeah, Git is already installed. So I'm going to go to my home directory, and I'm just going to run the command that they suggest you run. And it actually deletes the directory after you've done it, but I did install it into the awesome directory. Actually, I think my awesome directory already contained a few files, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to just delete the whole awesome directory. And going back to my home directory, I'm going to run the command again so that I have a completely fresh clone install of this theme ecosystem. Okay. So now if we go to .config awesome, it didn't work. Ooh, why is that? Let's try it again. Oh, it didn't work because I need to make the awesome directory before it can clone in there. So make dir.config/awesome. And now we are going to run the clone command. Okay, and now we go to cd.config awesome. And now it looks like this. It has the rc.lua template and the readme and the themes that are in here. So if we just follow the installation instructions here, you can set variables and define starter processes in rc.lua, and you can configure the widgets in the theme.lua. So here it says, just do the following. Go to the config.awesome folder and copy the template to your own personal Lua. So cp rc.lua template rc.lua. I wrote cd, but actually I want to do cp. And now that's done. I have my own personal RC Lua file now. And then we're going to open that up and we're going to look for the theme that we were going to set. So I type /theme, and here it has this array or this list of local themes where you can where it has the number, and then down here you can take the local chosen theme variable and enter the one that you would like to have. So I decided to go for Steam Burn, which is number 9. So I press R9 to replace the 5 with a 9. And that is done. And I'm also just instantly going to adjust the local terminal to Alacrity. And here we have the local editor. It's already set to NVim, which is what I want. And local browser, I'm going to enter Firefox. And I think that is all that I need to configure right now. So let's save and quit this. And I'm just going to close all windows just to, or just minimize all windows. So this is what we are starting with, and note the top bar here, and we have this widget called You Are Great. And it's all looking very minimal. But if I press the Control Super R, it should reload the entire configuration. So fingers crossed. Boom. It has reloaded and a few things have changed. So up here you can see we have a clock now. And if I hover that, it shows me a calendar. And it is already showing me the CPU up here and the battery. And you might notice that the colors have changed as well. So if I press Ctrl Super N to unminimize all of my windows again. Let's see, I have to tile this. Okay, open Alacrity. Here we go. I'm still finding my way around this whole window manager thing as I go along, but things have changed. Up here you can see it might be a bit small for you, but this bar has changed as well. And what we need to do now is I can notice that the font is not rendering correctly. And that is not a surprise because we actually need to install the font. But before we do that, here we have followed these instructions by setting the chosen theme. And here, before we start adjusting the theme, they suggest that you change this into theme personal.lua, so that way you can actually sync the GitHub repo, keep syncing it without losing your own configuration. So before we do that, before we start updating fonts and things like that, I'm just going to do that now. So you go into the rc.lua, and then it has this let's search for theme.lua. Modify the theme path in rc.lua like this. Wasn't that here? Maybe it's called chosen theme. Here. You have to change this this line to the line that they suggest there. So I'm going to comment out this. And here I'm going to copy this one. And I'm going to paste that in here. So now it does beautiful init string format, and it goes to the home directory, and then it takes the themepersonal.lua file. Okay. And then I have to go to themes, and I'm going to copy the theme, what was it? Steam burn, and then theme.lua to themes, steam burn theme personal.lua. Okay. And let's reload it. And that seems to have worked correctly. So now we are ready to do some more updates. The fonts used in the screenshots are Terminus and Tamzen, other ones. So let's see. Multicolor Power Arrow and Power Arrow Dark use this one. Holo Vertex use Roboto, and Tamzen is used by the other ones. So let's try and see if we can install Tamzen font. That looks really nice. And let's check out if there is an entry in the Arch user repository for that. Because in the previous one, I actually only installed the Terminus font. So maybe we'll just try that. Terminus Arch Wiki or Arch Linux. Terminus font. And this is in the community repository. So maybe I should be able to just download this, and if not, I'll have to make it myself. So sudo pacman syu terminus font. Yeah, it found it. And it's also going to do a kernel update, apparently. So let's just do that. So this font is just already available in the Arch repository, which is very convenient. And maybe we'll look into installing this font later. So as this is updating, we can take a look at the next step, because, oh, it's already done. So since it did a kernel update, I think I'm just going to reboot the system and see if everything is still working correctly. And hopefully we will also see a upgraded font up here. So take note of the font, and let's do a sudo reboot. And look how fast that's going too. This is why I love Arch. And lo and behold, our font has changed up here to a much nicer looking font, as you can see. Great. So far, so good. And now the theme also comes with a few extra key binds. So if I press Super Q now, it should open Firefox, and lo and behold, it did. So actually, this is already a good point where we are now, because you can see the colors have changed. Everything is looking nice and minimal, and now I can start customizing a few things. However, there are a few things that we should install. Here it says complements are provided by Lane and Free Desktop. Be sure to satisfy their dependencies. In particular, mail and weather widgets have mandatory arguments. So we need to install these two packages and make sure that that way we are able to use all of the widgets and things like that that come with this theme ecosystem. So let's try and do that. We have Lane here, and Lane is something that can produce layouts and widgets and things like that for Awesome. And I searched for quite a while to how to install it, but here it has a link to the wiki. And here there is an Arch user repository package for that. And in order to install from the Arch user repository, you can either do it, you can compile the packages yourself, but I found this thing called Yay, which is basically a very good way of installing packages automatically from the Arch user repository. So let's install Yay. And you can do that by cloning the package build and doing it with make package. And they have provided a very convenient way of doing this in one command. So we're going to go to our Git folder, and I'm going to run this. And I'm going to install all of this, just accepting what they are suggesting. Proceed with the installation. And apparently it's also installing Go, which is interesting. Yay is apparently written in Go. And when you are installing Yay, you have to first run the Yay GenDB. And after that, we are basically ready to start installing packages from the Arch user repository in a very convenient way. So now we run the Yay GenDB. No packages were installed, which is correct. And now I should be able to do Yay lane git. And then you have to select number 1. And it's now downloading from the Arch user repository. Okay, that is lane installed. Up next we have free desktop. And let's see how this is installed. This actually provides this really nice menu. So now we don't have a menu yet. If I just minimize everything, I actually already have this menu already. but I think free desktop enhances this menu a bit better. So installation, read the wiki. And here they have an Arch user repository package, which is called Awesome Free Desktop Git. So let's do yay, Awesome Free Desktop Git. And yay is very conveniently installing that for us from the Arch user repository. Done. That means that we now have all of the, supposedly we all have now all of the requirements for running our theme properly. So now that we have done all of this, we can get into a little bit more of customization, but just to take a little overview of what we have now, it is already looking really nice. Like we have this really nice wallpaper, but we're going to change this. And up here, it has this very small text, and I really like it because it doesn't get into the way at all, but it has this nice looking font. And up here, it is showing my CPU, how much CPU I'm using, the memory I'm using, and the time with a calendar. So I really like it. And let's do a little bit of customization, I suppose. First of all, I'm starting to get really annoyed with the way Firefox is looking. So I believe Firefox has a ready-made theme for the Groovebox that I mentioned in the beginning. So Firefox Groovebox theme, Groovebox dark theme, and install this theme, add. Okay, that is already looking a lot better. And let's just go into Firefox and set it to dark. Okay, great. So now we are, yeah, this is already looking a lot better and things are starting to harmonize a little bit more. In the next video, I think I'm going to customize my terminal and get that looking a little bit better. But before we do that, I can just go through a little bit of the configuration, how things work of the theme itself, and maybe I can adjust a couple of things. So I'm going to start with the rc.lua file. So vrc I'm going to go to the .config awesome folder, and we probably don't need Firefox now, so we can just close that window. And I'm going to go into the rc.lua. So like we saw a while ago, we can adjust the theme over here. And we set up the browser here. And here we can also adjust the layout. So I seem to be liking the tiling layout a lot better. So I'm going to put the tile layout as the first option here. Because it seems that I don't really like the floating one. I'm not using that very much, but I will keep it in here for now. But now that I put this line on top, it should be the default layout that loads when I load the theme. And other than that, I don't think there is much we are going to be adjusting in the rc.lua itself. Here it has the menu launcher widget and all these kinds of things. But most of the actual customization you'll be doing in the theme file. So let's go out of this one. And now we are going to go into the themes directory. So these are all the themes that are shipping with it at this stage. And I'm going to go into the Steam burn directory, which is the theme that we chose. And here we have the theme personal.lua. Okay, so here we are seeing that we have all of these colors. We have the wallpaper location, so that's something that we can adjust. We have all of these border widths, which are quite nicely customizable, and that's why I like at first I wanted to build this from the ground up, but now I'm actually glad that I went for a solution like this, where it's already sort of nicely configured and optimized, and then you can just go in and change things. I think this is a lot more beginner friendly, and this is just a lot better, because believe me, I've been messing around with it for like 10 hours or something before I sort of gave up, and it's a lot harder than I thought it would be. So here they are having all these nice custom icons, and here we are getting into the widgets. So up here you can see that you have these clocks and the memory usage, which is on 360 megabytes currently, which is amazing. But these widgets are actually defined here. They are set up in the theme file itself. And here you see there is a mail check, which is commented out. And one thing to note here is that these widgets are defined here. And it took me a while to figure this out, but first they are sort of created there. And then up and here is where the widgets are actually listed. So you can just comment them in and out from this list, and this is what determines the widgets that are actually shown up here. So definitely take note of that if you're considering trying this one out, because I was adding a new widget up here and then I didn't add it down here, and I was wondering why it didn't come up. But the configuration is really straightforward, and I'm really liking the Lua language so far. It is, I know Python, but this is just really easy to follow. As a beginner, you can really get into it quite easily, I think, if you know a little bit about coding. And let's see, the one thing that I want to adjust is what is called, I forgot what it's called, but when I open a new browser, say, then here it is actually put right against this window, but I want to have a little bit of padding in between there. And it has this term in here, but I forgot what it is. But when I see it, I will know it. Let's close this again. Border width, no. Is it called useless or something? Useless gap, that's it. Useless gap. So I'm going to set this to 10. And write this and reload. So, okay, already you can see there has been a little bit of padding, but I'm going to now open a Firefox window. And now you can see that there is a little bit of padding between these windows. And I kind of like that, because if I open a few more terminals now, it is not completely up against each other. I think 10 might have been a little bit much, so let's take it down to 8. Oh, useless. Here. Down to 8 and reload. Maybe 5. Yeah, 5 seems to be the sweet spot for me currently. So this is really nice workflow, because you can go into your theme file, you can adjust a few things, and then you can just reload it as you are going along. So I really like the copycats, call it ecosystem or theming system. And I really like how these icons are really small. I don't usually I don't use the mouse as much, but I'm really happy that you can at least have the opportunity to do so. And it gives a little bit of, here it says close when I hover it, and yeah, it's just really well done. So yeah, this is about this. I think this is a good point of stopping this video, because now we have the theme is set up properly. We have installed all the necessary dependencies, I assume. And in the next episode, I am going to set up my terminal. That's something that I want to do to make it look, to harmonize it more with the theme that I have here. In the meantime, I'm going to be searching for a nicer wallpaper that I want to have here. And maybe I can start going towards this more of a Groovebox theme that I showed in the beginning, with the nice black and red showing up everywhere. So that's about it for this time. Thank you so much for following along, and I hope you are getting some inspiration out of this, and maybe trying to build your own custom environment. And I hope you learned something from this. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.